Hey, how can I help you?
I have a letter written by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1922.
Cool, let me see it. Isn't it amazing how presidents usually write like doctors?
We got the letter from my wife's grandfather. He was a prominent attorney in New York State, and I suspect the letter was in his law firm. And I think the letter is valued at about $15,000. I'd like to sell this letter because my oldest son is getting ready to go to college, and it would be a great opportunity to offset some of the costs.
Do you mind if I read it?
Please.
Sucks getting old.
Tell me about it.
Dear Al, would you have a talk with my old friend, Robert Prater? He has an insurance matter which has already been, well, taken care of by Mr. Butler. Scribble, scribble, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Yeah, so basically it's a letter he's writing to some guy named Al, hoping he takes care of some insurance matters.
Yes.
Okay. It's written on 22. He did get polio on 21. He's paralyzed from the waist down at this point. And it is on his personal letterhead.
Right.
Yeah, another great thing is his full signature.
Right.
Okay, you don't always get his full signature. You get initials with Roosevelt. FDR memorabilia is incredibly popular because he's linked to so many historical moments that shaped our country. It's definitely interesting, but I just need more information. So, how much you want to get out of it?
$15,000.
$15,000.
I've seen other letters on the same letterhead and stationery go for substantially more money, so I feel it's a fair price for it.
Okay, it is really cool, but I have my doubts. My big concern over this is right after he was struck down by polio, became paralyzed. I would really assume he'd had a secretary doing everything for him.
I suspect not, only because it's on his own letterhead, and the penmanship matches across the whole letter and then into the signature.
Do you mind if I have someone look at it? I have a friend, she deals in documents like this.
Okay, great.
I'm gonna go give her a jingle.
Great, thank you. I'm confident that the letter was written by FDR himself. We've seen similar letters online that show exactly the same penmanship.
July 1922, at this point, he has retired from being Assistant Secretary of the Navy.
Right.
He just had a failed run for Vice President.
Right.
He, with James Cox, ran against Warren G. Harding in 1920 and lost.
Right.
And then it was just the summer before that he contracted polio. And actually, they believe it was during the Boy Scout Jamboree that he participated in. So...
Well, it seems plausible. I mean, a lot of kids there, and there was no vaccine.
Yeah, so what are your concerns?
I know that most of his life he had secretaries, and I just assume that, especially this time when he's not feeling well, they were all dictated letters.
Right. Well, at this time, I mean, he certainly did have secretaries, and he had many secretaries throughout his life who would sign his name.
All right, so whip out the apparatus. The apparati?
The optic.
Okay.
Here, what I have is essentially a dossier of different secretaries who signed FDR's name over the years. You can see how many different secretaries there were. See all these are proxy signatures from the 1930s. And what we really need to compare it to is the signatures of Roosevelt's own handwriting from about 1921 to 1923. The D in Franklin D. Roosevelt tends to be pretty different. You can see here it almost looks like an N or even a W. And I'll highlight this here so you can see that a little bit more. And then the other thing is specifically the angle you're seeing that crossbar and the F. That's an angle that's often changed by secretaries. You can see these angles here are the same.
So you think it's legit?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Now, what do you think it's worth?
Collectors love the presidents. If you follow the presidents, you're following American history step by step. If it were done while he was president, there are only a couple dozen surviving letters while he was president on his letterhead, completely in his handwriting. I would actually say that this is probably worth about $1,500.
That's a little disappointing. You know, I had hoped to get something closer to about $15,000.
$15,000 would be completely viable, but it's really not too special. He's not talking about his failed vice presidential bid, for example, or he's not talking about running for governor himself, which he does a little bit later. He had much more time in 1922 to do a handwritten letter than he would have, say, when he was president in 1941. That's when you get into those amazing values like 15,000. But as it is, the content is pretty so-so.
Right. Okay.
Thanks, you're the best.
I was sorry to disappoint him, but with the content and the year, it just wasn't gonna go that high. It's a sum insurance matter, it's Mr. A, go talk to Mr. B, and that's all we've got.
How much do you want now?
Well, she said it's only worth $1,500. So it's really worth more to me than even the $1,500. So I don't know if I would want to sell it now.
Okay.
You know, because you're not going to offer me $15,000.
No, I'm gonna offer you like 800 bucks.
Right. So for $800, I'd rather just keep it in our family.
All right, sorry for the bad news.
Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Still a great letter. It was written by a great president, and it's something that we can pass down from generation to generation.
I'm in LA scouting for some merchandise for the shop, and I'm about to view a few Muhammad Ali letters that he signed in 1971. There are no more of them. They are wanted, and these collectors pay insane money. How's it going?
Lenny,
nice to meet you.
Go ahead, take my seat. You guys can talk about it, and then I will come back when you guys are done.
All right. So, what are these letters about?
They're more philosophical than anything else because he wasn't the average punch-drunk fighter.
He was the greatest.
Yes, absolutely.
And he had no problem telling everybody that.
Yeah. I have a photo of Muhammad Ali with 5 philosophical statements on there. I got these in Zurich while Ali was still alive. I want $15,000 for it, and the least I'll take is $13,000.
What is the soul? The soul is life. It never touches death. Muhammad Ali, Peace, 1971. Damn, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, because you always see like the boxing glove or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't see philosophy by Muhammad Ali that often.
And besides, you never see it from other fighters.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a really... He wasn't your standard mold of a fighter, you know.
He was different.
You know, he converted to Islam.
Right.
You know, he refused to go to Vietnam. And he was just like a really, really smart fighter.
He would stand on that rope and block more punches than they hit him with.
Well, before the fight, he'd talk so much trash, he'd get the other guys all wound up. So they weren't thinking right and didn't fight right.
Absolutely. He was a smart person.
And the Jurgen Blin, there was another fight where he just knocked him out halfway through the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I love that the whole thing, he was writing like philosophy in a hotel in Zurich. So where'd you get this thing?
I got it at an auction, and now that he's gone, it's worth much more money than I paid for it. And I want to take a trip to Israel, so I'm going to sell it now.
Okay. How much you want for it?
About 15?
Would you take 10?
No. At one time, he was probably the most noted person in the world.
Dan, this is like holy grail stuff as far as Muhammad Ali goes. So I called in Dan to get his opinion because literally he knows more than anybody else when it comes to sports than I've ever met.
Hey,
There you are.
what's happening?
All right, so what's this thing worth?
I'll tell you, first and foremost, the key to this before we talk about value is that these passages that he wrote in Switzerland, it's pretty incredible because, I mean, here you got a guy that was training for his fight and he's in the moment in his hotel and then wrote these things that came directly from his heart. So they're really personal. He was immersed in just being in Zurich. It was a nice journey for him out there in that neck of the woods.
Okay, so what do you think it's worth?
You know, I think value-wise, each signature alone without the passages could be, you know, worth $1,500 to $2,000 alone. They are vintage, you can read every single letter, but not only that, now you have 5 stories directly from Muhammad Ali. And it's also authenticated, so they're just a real premier piece. You know, Lenny, I definitely think you can get $13,000 for it.
Yeah, but I'm going to ask 15 because he's no longer here, can no longer sign anything.
But that's why it's worth that much.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you duke it out, and I'll see you in a little bit.
What do you think?
I think I'll give you 10 grand for it.
You have to come up with more.
What's your best price?
My best price right now would be about 13. I dropped it a couple of thousand.
Let me give you 12. See, because the only way I'm going to make money on this thing is if I take the whole thing apart and I sell all the 3 letters separately. And
Well, what do you say we try to get together at 12.5?
why don't we try to get together at 12?
I would like it better at 12.5. On such a long trip, I want to fly first class.
Okay.
You're going to lose this thing for 500 bucks?
I mean, are you going to walk away for 500 bucks?
Yes, because the longer he's dead, the more it's worth.
All right, it's a deal. 12.5.
Okay,
That's a nice trip. A really nice hotel.
Yes.
First class tickets.
absolutely. And to think that you're going to pay for it.
Let me go get a checkbook.
So I'm happy with the deal. I'm making a profit on it. I bought it for much less. And now I'll have a nice trip to Israel. And at his expense.
Chum, did I get a package in?
I think you have 2 packages right here. What are you expecting?
Something extremely special, supposedly. Hopefully.
Pictures?
Not pictures, letters.
Letters?
I know they normally come in an envelope, but not this time. See that name right there?
Albert Einstein.
Yes.
The Albert Einstein?
The Albert Einstein.
Is this another one?
Yes. And this one, incredible.
So, where did you get this?
So, I mean, it's kind of an odd deal. I had a guy contact me. He says he represents an individual that owns these and is interested in selling them.
Really?
This is Einstein. This is a guy with an incredible mind. Sort of became like the first famous physicist. You know, he came up with the theory of relativity. He won a Nobel Prize, and to this day, he's like a pop icon. I mean, people make paintings of him today.
You wish you had hair like Einstein, don't you? It would be an upgrade. What are we looking at here?
These are actually letters corresponding with another physicist, which is super, super cool. This Professor David Bohm, he was a professor in Brazil, and they were communicating back and forth in the 1950s about Einstein's theory of everything. That's probably what the correspondence is here. And this is talking about imperial facts and a bunch of other stuff.
This one looks like maybe he signed his name there and it bled away or something.
It looks like it's gotten wet, and it also has some mold damage on it, which kind of sucks. I don't even know how you would dedicate the signature. Let me give the guy a call. There's a company laptop around here somewhere, right?
Can we get it? Here it is.
All right. So. Hello, you must be Joey.
Hello, Rick. How are you?
I am doing good. I have the letters. Can you give me a little history on them and what we're doing here?
I represent a client who collects art history and artifacts. We knew that you were a bit of a history buff, so that's why we sent you these letters to see what your thought process on them was.
They're pretty impressive. One of them, the signature is really messed up.
Yes, yes. But we did send it to you because both letters correlate with each other about quantum mechanics.
All right. I know that Einstein was in constant communication with Professor Bohm. They had a lot of correspondence over the years, and a lot of those letters have come up for sale. So how much does he want for these?
We're asking $15,000 for both letters.
I'll tell you what. Here's the deal. I mean, like, the one that's messed up, that's really, really difficult because I've never really dealt with an autograph in that bad a shape. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my signature guy to look at these things. I'm going to get his opinion on the value and everything like that. And I'm going to get back a hold of you. And hopefully we can make a deal. All right?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, talk to you soon. You know any quotes from Einstein?
Yeah.
Which one?
EMC equals square.
Close.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Steve, what's up?
Not much. What's happening?
I'm getting a little insight into physics from Albert Einstein.
Is it helping?
No. So what we got here is 2 letters written by Albert Einstein to another physicist. He's literally talking about his life's work.
That's really interesting. He was well known to correspond with different friends of his, peers, politicians.
The content is just unbelievable. The problem is the signature.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that right now. So I'm gonna pull this up, or actually just take a closer look and kind of see what we're dealing with, Rick, because it does look like it's got some real issues here. This would have been the signature line, obviously, as they call it, yours, Albert Einstein. He would have signed right there. But this has suffered some real serious damage. Is it just like a blob almost?
All right, let me get this.
All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this. All right, let me get this Let's take a look at this one. This is a little more typical of what I would expect. Just a beautiful autograph. He has this A that would slant to the right, and I'm seeing that here. He dots at the end. He dots after the A. You see the same kind of characteristics. And he took a lot of pride in this signature when he signed his name. So no doubt, though, about the signature here being good. So you've got two very fascinating pieces here.
Okay, so value-wise, what are they worth?
Typically, Einstein letters, as you know, you could find them out there. His autograph is desirable, but it's not difficult to locate. This piece here, with the signature full intact, the shorter letter, I'd put the value right at $3,500.
And this one?
This one here, aesthetically, it's not too pleasing, but still, this is a great letter. I don't think you'd care about the signature. You have his thoughts. He's pouring it out right here. That value, $3,000. So as a pair, $6,500.
All right, thanks, man. I'll call you, tell you if I get them.
All right. Good stuff, man. Thanks again.
All right.
Good seeing you.
Hey, Joey, how's it going?
Hey, Rick, how are you?
I'm doing great. Had my guy look at the stuff, and it's not $15,000.
Okay.
According to him, there's a lot of these out there. I'll give you $5,000.
Wow, that's considerably lower than we thought. Can you do 9,000?
No, I can go 5,000. There's a very good track record on what they go for.
6.5.
It's Einstein. They're letters to another physicist that will sell very quickly, but a lot of his letters are out there. 5K.
I think these letters are going to a better place, so I think I'm going to take your offer.
Sweet, we got a deal. I am going to shoot you over an email. I need to get some info from you, and I'll get you paid.
Excellent.
Okay, and if you have any more of this stuff, let me know.
Absolutely.
All right, have a great day, bud.
Bye-bye.
These are so cool. What do we have?
This is pretty cool. It's an amazing piece of history.
Okay.
These are Mickey Rooney love letters written to his wife when he was entertaining the troops during World War II.
Which wife was that? Because I know he had a gazillion of them.
The letters contain some pretty funny stuff. They're gushing with love. My honey, my baby, I love you, I miss you. Some of them are burnt, but I got 14 in fantastic condition, and the burnt ones are readable. Hoping maybe I can get about 8,000 for them.
Those are incredible.
How many times was this guy married?
8 times.
8 times.
This is his second wife, Betty Jane Baker. They had their first and second child together. 90% of the letters is saying how much he loves her, and then probably another 10% talking about their baby that they had, and that's Mickey Rooney Jr., and they're all written in 1945.
God, this is pretty amazing. Where in the world did you get them?
Turns out that my grandma actually rented the house that Betty Jane was living in and found them in the attic, and they've been passed on down from my mom to me.
Okay, and looks like someone tried to burn them.
At one point, my grandmother's vicious ex-boyfriend tried to burn the house down, but they're actually still readable.
Okay, sounds like your grandmother had relationships like Mickey Rooney did. Yeah. Mickey Rooney was an odd cat. I mean, he was thrown on stage when he was a little kid because he was like in vaudeville. He was actually in some silent movies. And then he became like a megastar in the 1930s. Mickey Rooney was one of Hollywood's most famous actors. He served in the European theater during World War II. And back then, obviously, no one had emails or text. I know it's hard to believe, but people actually hand-wrote letters to their loved ones.
Every one of them is addressed to Mrs. Mickey Rooney.
Lover girl, we leave for Berlin Thursday the 19th to play for the Prez. That's cool. They were doing what was called Jeep tours back then. So they put him to work entertaining the other troops. And then after World War II, you know, he kept his career going, but it was nothing like it used to be.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you want to sell these?
I'd love to sell them. I'm thinking about 8,000.
Some of these can go for a lot of money.
Just pictures signed by Mickey Rooney were going pretty high, and I mean, I've got almost 40 letters here.
Let me call a friend of mine. This guy is the #1 signature expert in the country.
and he'll take a look at them. He'll be able to figure out what they're worth.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, hang out. I'll give him a call. Get him down here.
All right. You know, I'm actually really excited that he's calling in an excerpt because they're so unique that just nobody has any answers for me. So it'd be pretty awesome to hear what he has to say.
Let's just random grab a few of these. Those aren't your lip marks, are they?
No.
Okay, so he wrote this in July 12th, 1945. Love to everyone, especially you, your daddy. Interesting. Nice writing. Here we are again. Your daddy, here's a kiss. And then he puts an X. Thank God he didn't put his lip marks on that one. This is actually signed.
Says Mickey.
Mickey. Okay. I have a few examples I could pull out and just kind of compare to see what we're dealing with here. You know, Mickey did sign a lot. His signature's out there, and this probably is a pretty good period example. I mean, it's a little later in life. Pretty simple signature, really nice, every letter. What I see are some similarities here between the two. His M kind of had a right angle pitch, not that far, but a little loopy, that's still consistent. Especially the front of the envelopes where he actually wrote Mrs. Mickey Rooney, which is really important because on a lot of these letters he just signed Mickey or Daddy or some strange nicknames. So, you know, based on everything I've seen here, there's no question that this stuff is real.
Okay. Is Mickey Rooney sellable anymore?
That's a great question. I think the letters as a whole, as a group here, everything I've kind of seen, you know, you're looking at about $1,500 to $2,000.
Okay.
I mean, he had a storied life, but at the same time, and no offense, we're not talking about Frank Sinatra or Clark Gable. We're talking about Mickey Rooney.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, dude.
Yeah, sure, good luck. Take care.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Basically, in the autograph world, Mickey Rooney's autograph isn't that highly sought after. But, I mean, he talks about buying stuff for his wife. He asks about his child. And a real hardcore fan of his would want that stuff.
This is the problem. You just can't take this thing and put it in a showcase, okay? It's got to be framed. It's got to be everything. And by the time I pay labor and I pay everything else, I'm going to lose money. I think your best bet is to get on the internet and sell them yourself one at a time. It's going to be a lot of work. Okay? Thanks for coming in, though.
Well, sorry you're missing out there. I can't believe he didn't make an offer on them, but, you know, hopefully I can make even more, and then he'll be sorry.
What do we have here?
It is an official piece of mail flown by Charles Lindbergh on the Spirit of St. Louis.
Wow, that's cool.
Bought it spur of the moment, but it doesn't really go with anything else that I collect, so.
Impulse buy. I understand. I'm at the grocery store constantly, and I pick up those damn M&Ms or something right at the counter.
I decided to come to the pawn shop today to try to sell my 1928 Charles Lindbergh letter. I'm looking to get around $200 for it, but the least I think I'd take for it would be probably around $75.
So where did you get this?
Got it online. I don't really know too much about Lindbergh. I do know he did the first transatlantic flight.
Yeah, I know he didn't carry no mail on that when he went to France. I mean, it was the first plane to fly all the way across the Atlantic. They had to load so much fuel on it. Everything they could cut out of that plane, they cut out of that plane. It didn't have paint on it because the paint weighed something. They put the gas tank almost directly over the wings. With the large gas tank right there and the controls right there, he had to fly with a periscope. Okay, literally, I mean, that's the way he had to fly the plane. When Charles Lindbergh flew solo across the Atlantic, people were amazed that he pulled it off. He was one of the biggest celebrities of his day, and he's still considered an American icon. 1928 West Indian Aerial Express, Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Airmail service is no big deal now, okay? But back in the 1920s, it was still pretty new. So Lindbergh used his celebrity status to promote airmail service. So he went on a tour of the Caribbean to hand out these souvenir letters, just to show, hey, airmail service has arrived. Now, what did you want to do with this?
Looking to probably get around $200 for it. I know he didn't carry any mail in the Spirit of St. Louis besides this piece and a couple others that were in a mail sack. It's got to be kind of rare, especially with the stamps even, just being what they are.
Yeah, this is one of my problems. I don't know a lot about stamps and mail and things like that. You know, I'm taking a shot in the dark. I'm assuming a sack of mail's got around 500 envelopes in it.
Probably.
So it's not uber rare. There's probably more of them out there. $50.
Can you do like 150? It's Charles Lindbergh. Any aviation nerd's gonna buy it.
Tell you what, I'll go $100.
Yeah, I guess we can do that.
Okay. All right, let's go do some paperwork. There are a lot of collectors that go absolutely nuts for anything related to Charles Lindbergh. And the fact that it's already framed up is going to make it that much easier to sell. Hey, how's it going?
Good. I got a couple very interesting historic letters here from my grandma. She wrote into Betty Crocker asking for recipes, and she explained to her what to do and gave her a recipe.
My letter to Betty Crocker would basically be, how do you start this damn microwave?
My grandma was a great cook, and she was a Betty Crocker fan. I think she wrote quite a bit to Betty Crocker, but these letters were the only two that we found. I'm hoping to get some money today so I can take my family out for a nice dinner.
It's really, really neat that you got the letters. Betty Crocker started in, I think, 1928. She was a fictional character.
Yes.
Okay.
That I do know.
Okay. Basically, they created Betty because it sounded like a really nice person would be named Betty. Crocker is a retired executive from General Mills.
Yes.
You know, yet they had like 50 to 100 women just basically answering letters and answering the phones. The funny thing is like the girls writing the letters and explaining everything, they're not the ones who signed them.
Oh, who signed them?
There was just a few executives that signed them.
Oh, is that right?
Well, the thing was, they wanted the signatures to stay very consistent.
Yes.
What do you want to do with them?
Well, I'd like to sell them.
How much did you want for them?
Well, I want $350 a letter.
As far as Betty Crocker goes, I mean, she's just an advertising icon. There is some great value in her intellectual property. I mean, I'm sure General Mills could just sell that name for hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, I'm sure it's worth that. The problem is, if there was a real Betty Crocker, maybe we could figure out if this was her signature, but there was no real Betty Crocker. It's a great story. It's really fun. But the problem is, they're worthless.
I guess I'm not going to dinner tonight.
But you can make a pie.
I guess I can.
Okay. Sorry I can't do nothing, but like I said, thanks for making me think about my grandma today.
All right, thank you. You bet. Since I didn't get any money today, I suppose I'm going to have to get the Betty Crocker cookbook out and whip them up something.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good.
What do we got?
I have a letter that was written to a fella in my hometown by Congressman James A. Garfield before he was elected president. I have both the letter and the envelope, both hand-signed by him.
Okay.
Up here in the corner where the stamp goes, it's the franking privilege that he invoked, which allowed him to send that for free.
Congressmen get free stamps?
They still do.
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I came to the pawn shop today to try to sell my documents that were signed by James A. Garfield when he was a congressman. I'd like to sell this item today because my youngest son lives in Singapore, and I'd like to go visit him, and this will go a long ways to purchasing a ticket. I'd like to get about $3,000. I've been told they're worth from between 4 and 6.
So how did you get it?
I had a friend who traded me for this letter.
Okay. So basically it says, I will send you the agricultural report as soon as possible. Very truly yours,
James A. Garfield.
Yeah. James Garfield, he was a Civil War general, and he was a congressman for a while. He was also considered a pretty gruff guy. James Garfield was one of our shortest serving presidents. He was only in office around 6 months before he was shot, and then he died a few weeks later. It's really weird. It's like the one president that was assassinated that no one knows that he was assassinated.
Why'd they shoot him?
The guy who shot him, he was basically crazy. Most people say Garfield would have probably survived, but it was the doctors kept on sticking their fingers in the wound trying to find the bullet. 1880s medicine wasn't like anything it is today. Sterilization wasn't fully accepted by doctors yet, so doctors' hands and instruments often caused infections. Back then, surgery could be more deadly than a gunshot.
So what do you want to do with it?
I want to sell it.
Any idea what you want?
I'm hoping for at least $3,000.
The stationery's correct, the ink is correct, the postmark looks right, everything looks right, but the thing is, did he sign it or his secretary?
Back in 1869, Congress didn't have the bloated staffs that they have now. So he got his own mail, he read it, he wrote the replies.
I'm sure Garfield had a secretary. These guys didn't do everything themselves. Remember, most of them were businessmen. So let me get someone in here to check out the signature. If it's real, we'll do something.
Absolutely. I've never had a real expert check it out, but I believe the signature is his and it's real.
How you doing, man?
Great. How you guys doing? Good to see you.
Oh, doing great, man. So this is what I called you about, James A. Garfield, or J.A. Garfield.
Right, okay. The guys usually give me a call when they have questions about a certain type of memorabilia, especially autographed memorabilia. Well, Garfield is actually a very interesting guy. I mean, he grew up very poor. He was a major general during the Civil War. He was not even in office an entire year. Well, Rick, you called me in, so obviously you might have some problems with this, or what do you think?
I just assume he's having a secretary take care of all this stuff.
Sure. Well, even though James Garfield's signature is not highly forged, you really got to be careful about it being a secretarial, because you never really know for sure. Well, let's take a look at the details and see what we have. Okay. All right, well, appears to be congressional letterhead. Well, he is signing this particular one, J.A. Garfield, not James A. Garfield, which I'm used to seeing. That could be a sign of a secretarial. Let's see what we have on the envelope. That is also J.A. Garfield. Well, just based upon the evidence of the signature, yeah, there's no doubt that this is not a secretary. This is authentic all the way. Both signatures, excellent. I've seen a secretary of his before, and it doesn't look anything like his. Garfield has a very beautiful signature. It's very free-flowing. He writes it with a lot of detail, okay, at a high speed. It's dead on.
Oh, great. So what do you think it's worth?
It would be worth more if it was signed while he was president. I'm gonna say probably retail $2,000 to $2,500 is what I think.
Okay.
That's probably fair.
That's really disappointing because a Garfield expert told me it was worth between $4,000 and $6,000.
How much money did he offer you for?
Well, that was the other part of it. He wasn't interested in buying it.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, man. You're
Okay,
the best.
guys. You bet. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Drew.
Take care. Well, if this would have been signed on White House letterhead while he was president, it would probably be worth double what this particular document's going to be worth.
How much do you want for it?
Well, how about $2,000?
I'll give you $1,000. If it was White House stationery, completely different story.
How about if I split it with you? $1,500.
No, I mean, I could go like $1,200.
Well, I had it hanging on the wall at my business and that, and I think maybe I'll just put it back there.
Okay. I mean, you sure?
Well, can you go any higher?
I'll go $1,250.
All right, how about $1,300?
Might as well do it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. All right, he'll write you up.
I was really disappointed that when I found out it was only worth up to $2,500, but I think I negotiated a fair deal, and I'm happy with my $1,300.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. What do you have here?
I'm looking to sell a postcard that Patsy Cline personally wrote. And this is a book. It's a collection of letters and cards that Patsy Cline wrote to one of her friends and fan club president. And I have a card that's actually in the book, and Patsy wrote out the whole card, the postcard, while she was on an airplane.
That's really cool. She's about as iconic as they come.
I'm here at the pawn shop, here to sell a postcard that Patsy Cline personally wrote out to her friend. This postcard is dated February 10th, 1957 by Patsy. She was writing it to her friend Treva, and she wrote it on an airplane, and it's postmarked the following day, February 11th, 1957. I'm hoping and asking to get $1,900 for the postcard signed by Patsy Cline.
This is pretty cool, man. Patsy Cline is a legend in the country music world. First woman to be inducted into the Country Hall of Fame. Had the #1 jukebox hit, Crazy. But she had a very tragic passing. You know, she died very young, I think right around 30. She had a benefit show, and after the show, she got on her plane and the plane went down. But still today, she's an icon on the music industry and people do collect her stuff. You're saying this was something from a fan club?
Yeah, she wrote these to her fan club president and friend, and this was a postcard, and it's in the book. So it's on this page of the book. And
pretty cool there. I can tell it's the same postcard. The writing is identical. Patsy Cline's definitely a cool autograph to have, especially if you collect country music memorabilia, because this is an autograph that, you know, hasn't been available for, what, 50, 60 years?
Right.
So where did you get this?
I bought the postcard from a collector many years ago, and I've had it all this time.
Okay. And did you search the book out after you found out the postcard was in it or something?
Actually, the book came with the postcard when I bought it.
Okay. What are you looking to do with it today?
I'm looking to sell it for my collection.
Okay, and how much are you looking for?
My asking price is $1,900.
Okay.
Because it is so rare.
I do think that if people are looking for an autograph from Patsy Cline, this is one they'd want to search out because it has been referenced in a piece of literature already. I need to have someone come down and take a look at it, though. I'm not too familiar with how collectible she is, but I do know she's about as iconic as they come. So I'd like to have someone come down, take a look at the postcard. If it has any extra value because it was in the book, he'll be able to give us a definite price on this thing.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you.
Chum.
How you doing, Warwick?
You're looking very chum today.
You know, I'm always chummed out. This is Warwick.
Hi, Warwick.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Yes.
And this is what I called you about, Warwick. So I would want to focus on definitely your expertise on Patsy Cline, because this postcard was written by her.
I'm a big Patsy Cline fan.
I knew you were,
Sorry.
see? Obviously, I can appreciate Patsy Cline, but she's just a little before my time.
Before my time, too, please. Please. But this is very nice. Very good condition, too, isn't it? Record sold over 200,000. I can't believe it. Which record was this?
Walking After Midnight.
Nice. My favorite. But everybody knows Crazy, right? She put Willie Nelson on the map. That was the first big song he sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And they say today that it's the #1 jukebox song of all time. And I love the fact it says written on plane 9,000 feet up.
So what's the Patsy Cline collector market right now?
I think due to the fact that she's not forgotten, she's still valid. Her signed photographs go for $2,000 to $2,500. If you were lucky enough to have a dedicated LP or something like that, probably go $3,000, $3,500. So the letters, it all depends on what the content of the letter is, how interesting it is. But then she's talking about her TV appearances in this is very good, and her record selling, and she's got a lot of news in this one little 2x2 area.
So how much do you think the postcard's worth?
I think the postcard, if you were selling it at auction, it would get $1,900.
All right, well, thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Always my pleasure. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, well, after hearing everything Warwick said, I do really like it a lot. I'm not gonna be able to get you to that 1,900 though. If he believes it will go for 1,900 in auction, that probably means I'm gonna sell it for about 1,500 in the store. With that being said, it's a lovely letter. I would love to buy it. Would you take $875 for it?
Would you consider $950 possibly?
Okay, I could do $950. Just go to the counter and they'll get you paid up there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. I feel good about the deal. I was hoping to get as much as I could, and I feel like I did, and I'm going to donate that to a nonprofit related to country music, so I'm sure they will be happy too.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
What do we have here?
I have a collection of 100 thank you letters from a Chicago drug dealer in the 1880s and 90s.
Okay, look.
Sure.
Julius Hoffman, I actually know a little bit about him. He was touting that he cured people of addiction from heroin and cocaine. His cure for cocaine addiction was cocaine, and his cure for heroin addiction was heroin.
Right.
And he was labeling them as other things, the miracle tonic of life.
What's really poignant is how these people were thanking this guy who was a criminal.
I mean, they were really polite back then, weren't they?
They were very polite. Dr. Julius Hoffman was a crook. He made a fortune on other people's misfortune. I'm looking to sell the book because I've had it for a while. Been interesting to have it. Now I'd like to sell it so I can buy more antiques.
This is really intriguing. So you have an entire book full of thank you letters to Dr. Hoffman, how he cured them of addiction.
He would travel cross country with this book, walk into a drugstore somewhere, lay it on the counter and say to the druggist, I have this wonderful product. If you don't believe me, read these letters. This was his sales device.
Doctors didn't have the exact moral code back then. Basically, you could put anything in a bottle at the time and say, hey, this is medicine. He was one of the first people convicted under the Food and Drug Act. The Food and Drug Act was passed in 1906. It basically said you couldn't lie about what's in food and what's in drugs. Prior to that act, you could really take advantage of a lot of people and not get in that much trouble. And that's exactly what this guy did. You want to sell this?
Yes.
What do you want for it?
$3,000.
Okay. You have something very interesting. I think this thing is absolutely amazing. It's really cool and everything
That's
like
why
that.
you need to own it, Rick.
I mean,
This is your chance.
I own gazillions of things, but I don't see it.
This is your only opportunity.
It's
here in front of you right now. You can buy this. Make me an offer, come on.
Not interested. It would be way too hard to market. Thanks for bringing it in, though, man. I mean, it's bizarre. Have it going.
Okay, thanks. I'm disappointed that I didn't sell the book. However, I'm pretty confident that I can find a buyer for it.
How you doing?
Hi there.
What can I help you with here?
I've got these items from Katharine Hepburn, 2 letters signed from her, and also a painting that was sent to Katharine Hepburn, which is referenced in that letter.
Katharine Hepburn, not to be mistaken with Audrey Hepburn.
Right.
Actually, they're not even related. Both Hollywood actors, though, so that's my fun fact for the day.
I'm looking to sell my Katharine Hepburn autographed letters and a painting of Katharine Hepburn. What's really unique about this set is that there's 2 letters, both of them autographed and both of them certified. About 10 years ago, I was shopping online and I came across this collection and I thought it'd be a great investment. I'm hoping to get $300 for these Katharine Hepburn autographed letters.
That's pretty cool. Katharine Hepburn was an actress who started acting in the 1930s and acted for, a span of 60 years, had 4 Academy Awards, and up until Meryl Streep, she held the record for most Academy Award nominations. She was a kind person, but, she didn't like signing photographs of herself, so she would sign the letters and send them back to you, which is a lot nicer than some other celebrities would do. So for her to do this is really cool. So it looks like this letter is referencing this painting right here. Let's see. Katharine Houghton Hepburn, which looks like her official letterhead. That's pretty cool. Dear Brian Burke, thank you for letting me see your painting. I'm sending it back to you because I really have no room for anyone's painting except my own, which are perfectly terrible, but they are all I can do. I think yours is quite good, sweeter than I am, fun to do. And it does look to be authenticated by PSA. And the second letter has nothing to do with the painting, correct?
Right.
How much would you like to get for it?
I'm looking to just get $300 for it. I think it's a fair price.
I don't know what the painting's worth because Brian Burke never had an art career. I don't know that the 2 letters by themselves would sustain the $300. And I just don't think there's enough collectors out there to actually have one walk through my shop and want to buy this stuff. This is going to be a hard sell for me. I think I'm going to have to pass on it today. But I do appreciate you bringing it in, and thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a nice day.
I figured I'd try my luck here today, but luck wasn't on my side, so I guess I'm just gonna put it online and I'm sure I'll find a buyer there.